Welcome back, everybody. My name is Fia Gloss. We're back here with another FrostySnoman game. This one is a few hours old now, so we're hot release. So this one is called The Bridge to Nowhere, I believe. Yeah, Bridge to Nowhere. So let's read the description here. You almost scream when you wake up. You do, however, hit your head on the low ceiling. You're in the back seat of a car. Every FrostySnoman story has a car. Just want to throw that out there. Not your car. Bridge to Nowhere took 3 days to develop solo, boasting a tiny bit more bells and whistles than my previous game. Awesome. This game is intended to be played after playing The Moon Looks Beautiful Tonight and The Fireman. Excellent. We're already there. In addition, this project uses some coding that I'm still learning with. If you encounter any bugs or errors, please inform me. Happy to. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy. Content warning: bodily harm, murder, general spooky stuff. Note: I'd like to give a shout out to Fia Gloss. Woo! For being a good source of feedback and motivation. If you're a fan of text-based games, you should check out their awesome channel. Cool, a link to my YouTube channel. Excellent. Appreciate the shout out. Flattery gets you everywhere with me. And just, for like the feedback and stuff, I just want people to know. I'm concerned. Sometimes people take, if people take what I say extremely seriously, I'm just some guy and I like to make text adventures myself or text games or whatever. I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about. And so when I offer advice or I say, I don't like this or I don't like that, or I would change this, I'm literally just saying, like, me personally, I would change this. I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about, and I wouldn't ascribe any authority to what I say per se. Just wanted to throw that out there. So if there's something in a game and I play it and you're like, I don't know, I like it this way, like, do not change it. Especially not for me, because I don't know what I'm talking. I'm not a professional. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Like, I appreciate when people are like, I took some of your feedback into consideration. Like, that's perfect. But don't take what I say whole cloth, because I am just one person. Anyway, The Bridge to Nowhere. Let's wake up. You almost hear a scream when you wake up. You almost scream when you wake up, I'm sorry. You do, however, hit your head on the low ceiling. You're in the back seat of a car. Not your car. Of course, that's not the only thing you notice. You never were the most impressive specimen. Average height, shaggy, dark hair, lanky body, chewed fingernails and chapped lips. You've done all right for yourself, though. Married, a nice house, a good job. But you never were that impressive. You look like a stiff wind could knock you over. And you've always felt sick at the sight of blood ever since you caught a soccer ball to the nose in gym that left you sprawled on the floor. But there's more pressing matters than what happened in gym. Of course, that's not the only thing you notice. You notice you're on a bridge, blanketed in fog. It's just bridge for as far as you can see. Littered around you are abandoned vehicles, like toys that belong to a child who hates to clean up. Your heart freezes when you notice the violent scratch marks that cleave along the doors and the windows, some as long as your arm. Okay, there are more things in the car. Beside you is your wallet, empty as usual, and an axe. You can't help but notice the notches carved into the handle, and the chunks missing from the head. Clearly, this thing has seen use. You hope that's not blood on the blade. That's not your axe either. Maybe now's a good time to step outside. You step outside, grabbing the axe as you do so. The air here is cold, and the fog feels like a weighty embrace. Dozens of cars, damaged and forgotten, but still there, sit around you like silent judges. The wind blows softly in your face, sending a chill down your spine. Not as much as the scream does, though. A shrill cry echoes down the bridge, cutting the silence in the fog like a knife through weak flesh. You look around, noting that the cars could make a good hiding place. You note the hefty weight of the axe. You're not much of a fighter, but the way the light malevolently glints off the razor-sharp blade instills a shred of confidence in you. The cries come ever closer, instilling the age-old instinct you know too well, fight or flight. Let's put up our dukes. We don't know what's going on. This might be somebody else who's having a problem. We don't know. You stand there in the middle of the bridge, unarmed. Are you really going to do this? Brawl with whatever is causing that noise? It seems you have to find out. The thing approaches, and you think it was a person for a moment. Oop. Well, there goes my plan. But no, the thing is nothing close to human. Standing 2 heads taller than you, and with jagged claws the length of your arms that drag along the floor, the thing is an imposing sight. It doesn't take long for the thing to speed towards you, and you finally see how vicious its teeth are. The fight is over before it started. All right. Wow. Just goes to show how easily I would survive. Okay. So cool. It's got some stats at the end. I think this kind of thing is a super nice touch. Oftentimes when I'm playing a text game and, I'm interested in seeing all of it, but sometimes it's not particularly clear what things I was doing would be a meaningful choice. And so, here we've got finish the game with the axe. It gives me all these stats that give me some kind of idea of where to go with the story, maybe to see something different. Super great thing to put at the end. Love it. I also, a lot of times people don't like handwritten fonts. I like handwritten fonts personally. And especially with a story like this, it's like something that gets you into the feeling of the character. I like it. So anyway, we'll start back where I screwed up. All right, so maybe this time we'll hide under a car. You crawl under the nearest car, breath quickening. Is this what rats feel like when they're cornered? The cries grow ever closer, and you can see a figure stalking out from the fog. It looks far too human at first. As it stalks closer, you notice just how wrong you truly were. Standing 2 heads taller than you and with jagged claws the length of your arms that drag along the floor. The thing is not human. It might have been once, but it cannot even be seen as human now. You watch in fearful silence as the creature searches the area, ripping open car doors and shattering windshields. Looking at it is starting to hurt, and you can feel blood slowly streaming out of your nose. There's nothing to do but wait. Well, we're not good with blood, so... The creature approaches the car you hid under. I think this is supposed to be hid. Or approaches the car you're hiding under. One of those. Raising its claws to scrape them along the door violently. Sparks and a few errant chunks of metal fall to the ground, the sound echoing in your ears. Then, satisfied with the carnage it has wrought, it stalks away, its cries returning as it disappears into the fogs. Cool. Possessive its doesn't have an apostrophe for some reason, by the way. And I think this is supposed to be singular. Anyway, after a moment, you scuttle out from under the car and continue walking. You walk down the bridge, shaking. Who put you, of all people, in this situation? A lunatic, surely. You lose track of time walking down the bridge. You're only ripped from your stupor by the sound of cries. Not like before, no. These are far too human. You continue towards the sound and see a person on the ground. Their torso is shredded, and one of their legs is missing. They look up at They look up at you, tears in bloodshot eyes, and beg. You don't understand the gibberish and the ramblings from their mouth, but you know what they want. Oh. Hmm. You search around the area, scavenging through the cars here. There's so many on this bridge. These ones look older, rusted, a bit more decayed. Everything here does. Moss grows and cracks, and the steel supports of the bridge seem to groan with the weight. Popping the trunk of a more recent model of car, your eyes settle on the metal instrument inside. A crowbar. You could use this. Okay. Oh, it doesn't let me use the crowbar. Why is that? Huh. Well, let's use the axe. I was going to use the axe anyway, and here's my methodology, is that, well, honestly, if it were really me, I probably could not just kill another person, no matter what the situation. But my thinking of using the axe is that a crowbar has a lot more utility, whereas the axe, it's like, yeah, okay, we could use the axe to do some damage or whatever, but we're not really going to be doing too much damage here. So having a crowbar, a tool to maybe get more resources for ourselves or figure out more or break into something or get out of something, just seems like a better plan overall. You step over, looking at the injured person on the floor. They're beyond saving for a professional, and you're not even close to that. You raise the axe and look away, then you start swinging. By the end, you can't even recognize them as a person. Just a brutalized hunk of flesh on the ground. Your breath feels ragged. At least you were somewhat humane. I also got to say, I like FrostySnoman does this a lot, but I really love the the shaky text and stuff. It's just cool, and so far aesthetically, I gotta say, this is like the best FrostySnoman game aesthetically. And it's cool that it was only made in 3 days, but this is it's really easy on the eyes, and it gets you into the story. Honestly, the only thing that slightly throws me off is just that I can see these buildings back here, and it's just open that up in GIMP or something and just airbrush it out, so it's just a bridge from nowhere ostensibly to nowhere ostensibly. Anyway, let's go. You stumble onwards, your mind replaying the scene over and over again, them lying on the floor begging for death, the extent of their wounds, the process of taking a life. At least it was humane. You stop in your tracks when you see the figure ahead of you, a lunatic in a mask, a smile painted on in charcoal. Are you going to have to kill again? They speak, a legion of voices overlapping one another. They look far too human. They're not too far away. If you pass, I must take something from you. You stop. What should you give them? Do you really have to give him something? What's stopping you from taking what you want? I must take a part of you. There's no escaping this fact. Then you notice the knife in their hand. I'm interested to see where this goes, so let's do it. You take a deep breath. They approach, knife in hand. You close your eyes, waiting for it to happen. It doesn't. Open your eyes. Oh! Got a little error here. You see the figure standing in front of you. They lunge forward. They grab your hand. With unheard speed, they raise the knife. They bring it down, sawing into your index finger. You scream. They wince. Please don't make this any harder on me. I don't like hurting people. When it's over, you look at the pool of blood on the ground. You look at your missing finger. The figure runs off, the soft sound of their apologies turning into buzzing in your ears. After a brief moment of catching your breath, you decide to move onwards. So the text style command should be assigned to a variable or attached to a hook. Oh, okay. So what this is probably, this is obviously this is a different story format than what I use, but I think it's just missing closing brackets or something for whatever. I'm guessing this is going to like supposed to be like red text that's shaking, and it just doesn't have a closing thing for that. Just thought I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Like this one here, yeah, text style. So this is supposed to be shaking, and then this is supposed to be red, and it's just missing the closing things or something like that. That's what I'm guessing. Anyway, let's move onwards. You continue walking. When will this end? Where are you? Is this hell? Are you dead? Your legs ache. The place where your finger was aches even more. After a moment, when you've become accustomed to the wind biting your face and the tears welling up in your eyes, you see it. The thing you knew was coming. The thing you'd been warned about ever since that one night. Ever since your daughter went outside to look at the moon. Between the two highest points in the bridge is a translucent white membrane of sorts, stretched over itself hundreds of times, pulsating violently. The air smells like burnt toast and something that doesn't exist. Kneeling on the ground in front of it, in rapturous awe and hope, is a figure you recognize. It's you. They look ruined. You can see where the finger is missing. You, stand up and turn to you. You recognize every aspect of yourself. You recognize the look of a killer. You recognize it all because you'd always recognize yourself. Their voice sounds shaky as they speak. In the end, it's just us, me, myself, and I. And as I stand here before my Lord, I'm ready to die. You never were the most impressive specimen. Average height, shaggy dark hair, lanky body, chewed fingernails, and chapped lips. But standing here, covered in blood, as you brutalize yourself in the violent, sanitizing glow of the thing on the bridge, burying your fists into the face of this thing that you hope isn't truly you. You know the thing on the bridge finds you impressive, if only for now. You act as if on autopilot, dragging the still breathing, soon-to-be corpse to the edge of the bridge, fueled by powers you cannot determine, nor ever hope to understand. You hoist the body over the railing and wait for the splash that never comes. You return to the thing on the bridge. You fall to your knees. It's glorious. It's perfect. It has all the answers. It can help you. Now it's time to beg for your daughter back. You cry. You sob. You beg with her. You beg to be with her again. It promises you. You will be. You hear footsteps behind you. You stand. You turn. You see. You speak shakily, knowing what has to be done. In the end, it's just us, me, myself, and I. And as I stand here before my Lord, I'm ready to die. You don't fight back. You don't die. You don't stop yourself from being thrown over the edge into the space below. You hear a voice soft and familiar as you plummet. You'd always remember your daughter's voice. Awesome! As a reward for completing the game, you've gained access to costumes. Unfortunately, given that this is a text-based game, costumes are not fully implemented. However, you can play through again, but imagine the characters wearing different outfits. Who did this? There was another game that did this sort of joke. I think it was... You're going to interrupt me now, too? What's up, bud?
Yeah, it's not the baby, it's the dog.
There was a game that did this. It was... what was the name of it? It was the one about it was the one about the haunted Game Boy or something, right? That was based on the creepypasta. Anyway, the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's fun. Cool. All right, so there's one more playthrough I want to try. So we'll hide under the car again and we'll wait. And this time we'll just leave him. No, you can't do this. You're no killer, even in this sick place. You keep walking. You ignore the pleading. You ignore the begging. You ignore the aching, pulling feeling in your gut. You ignore the feeling you've still killed them. You move onwards. You stumble onwards, your mind replaying the scene over and over again. Them lying on the floor begging for death, the extent of her wounds. Oh, okay. So, and then we'll let them take what they want. Huh. Okay. Well, I was expecting something a little different, but okay. Interesting. So cool, sort of, this is like, let's see, we started with The Moon Looks Beautiful Tonight, which, that was a cool one. I liked it. And The Fireman, especially for how, how little time it was created in. It's just cool to see how, how much gets done really in 3 days. I wish I could make this much content in 3 days, but definitely don't. So, all right, The Bridge to Nowhere by FrostySnoman. Very cool. Gamers Nation. Very cool game. And I like the setting, and I kind of like this interesting fantastical universe or whatever that FrostySnoman is building. And I like the callbacks to the masked fireman. It's a good visual of a person that should be used more than just in the short game of the fireman. There's a couple spelling errors and things like that as I played through. And it's just take a little more. It's one of those things where it's like you just gotta like slow yourself down sometimes, but it doesn't detract from it at all or anything really. It's just makes it feel a little less professional to somebody from the outside. That like if there's a spelling error, sometimes that takes people out. It doesn't really take me out, but some people it takes them out. I'm liking the visual style of this, and I'm liking, the text and all that. It was well written, in my opinion. It made me feel like I was in an alien world. There were parts where I'm like reading and I'm starting to feel my head like pounding sort of in the story. Totally drew me in. And I'm sure I could play through and get more answers, but like so far, like as somebody playing, obviously my first playthrough I was an idiot, but my second playthrough, I left feeling like, yes, there's unanswered questions, but the big questions I feel are adequately explained that now my mind can wander. And that's a difficult thing to do in a game like this sometimes, because you don't want to, it's like you don't want to answer everything because that takes away the mystery of it, and the mystery of it is the appeal. But you also don't want to leave somebody with nothing to cling to and no satisfying ending. That can be really rough on a player. And I've played some games where, it's like I did get to the end and it's like, oh, there's like a billion other endings, and, you're not going to understand what's happening without all those endings. So pretty cool. I like this edition of the stats giving you an idea of what things you could do differently to make the story change a little. So anyway, keep learning that coding. It's only improving the quality here. So, keep it up, FrostySnoman. Keep up the good work. The writing is still good, and it's like, you've created 3 games now in how many days? Like, The Moon Looks Beautiful Tonight was from 25 days ago. So it's like 25 days, and in a month you've created three things already. So that's pretty impressive. Keep up the good work, and don't, obviously don't like wear yourself thin. But it's like a steady improvement going. So very cool. Very cool. Very impressed. Loved it. This is the kind of horror stuff that we need to see more of on Itch.io, and less of like run away from Michael Jackson simulators or whatever. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Oh, one last thing, Frosty Snowman, if you're still watching, you should definitely do the next Scream Jam that's coming up in like a week. Doing a plug for the Scream Jam, Scream City. I will be doing playthroughs of all those. I'm throwing it in this video because I've been like, that's been my whole headspace the past few days, and probably will continue to just take up more and more space in my brain, that I may not be doing too many playthroughs the next week. And then the week after that, once Scream City starts, I will not be doing any playthroughs whatsoever, because I will be frantically trying to finish my game. But I would love to see Frosty Snowman do something for that Scream City. That would be cool. If not, that's fine too. But some point, at some point, I want to see it. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I intentionally didn't do all the endings because I think everybody watching should go through and play through and try some different stuff, and see some different endings and different stories for themselves. So thanks for watching. Yeah. And I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that may be. So have a good night.